Jared,
Yeah.
what's the difference between Inception and my actual dreams?
Your actual dreams, I don't think you can go deeper in multiple layers. I don't know. What is the difference?
Difference is, in my dreams, someone doesn't spend 20 minutes explaining the rules.
Yeah. Miss Exposition. I have a note about that, actually. Never realized until now how much she's just exposition.
Yeah. Well, you need,
For this, you need it, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, welcome back to Screen Time Film, a podcast where we discuss a director's filmography in chronological order, starting with their first film, feature film, and then ending on their most recent or final, depending on the director.
So this will not be his final.
No, this is not. No. And they're currently covering Christopher Nolan with our journey to the Odyssey, or AKA also known as the Odyssey to the Odyssey.
Yeah. I don't know which one I like better or dislike more.
It's redundant either way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're this far in.
Yeah, we can't bail now.
No.
We're fully in.
Yep.
So Jared, don't you want to take a leap of faith, or do you want to become an old man filled with regret, waiting to die alone?
True.
So my name's Josh, and this is my co-host Jared.
Okay, Josh, here's me planting an idea in your head. I say to you, don't think about elephants. What are you thinking about? Elephants.
Giraffes.
Right, but it's not your idea because it's not your idea because you know I gave it to you.
Yeah. All right.
Are you thinking about giraffes if I say elephants though?
Yeah, because I think about the African safari, and then
yeah, I guess, yeah,
lions and tigers and bears. Oh,
yeah, I suppose.
Hippopotamus, you know. All right, so today we're going to discuss Inception, if you haven't figured it out already by the intro stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the little overview info, our overall thoughts without spoilers, then get into spoilers and discussions, and then discuss cinematography, the score, trivia, then themes and messages, and our final thoughts. All right, so this film came out in 2010, PG-13, 2 hours and 28 minutes. The synopsis: a thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO, but his tragic past may doom the project and his team to disaster. So directed by Christopher Nolan, written solely by Christopher Nolan.
Okay.
Cinematographer Wally Fitzer. He's been the cinematographer for all these films, for just about.
Pretty much,
Composer now is just Hans Zimmer.
Just Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Production costs. What do you think, Jared?
I think I'm going to go with, just because there's so many set pieces and cast and all that, I'm going with around the same as the last film, or maybe a little less. 180.
160. So
okay,
it's you're a little over.
All right,
but close.
I think it was 180 was Dark Knight, or a little more.
Yeah, somewhere.
It was close to 200, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
it was 185.
185. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we've got 4 wins and 4 nominations for Oscars.
Okay.
We've got Best Achievement in Cinematography for a win.
Okay.
A win for Best Achievement in Sound Mixing.
Yes.
A win for Best Achievement in Sound Editing. And then a win for Best Achievement in Visual Effects.
Okay.
And then nominated for Best Motion Picture of the Year. Nominated for Best Writing Original Screenplay. Nominated for Best Achievement in Music Written for Motion Picture Original Score. And nominated for Best Achievement in Art Direction. The only thing that surprised was the editing. I'm surprised it didn't get nominated for editing.
Yeah. Also, I wonder what won, like what film won that year,
Yeah.
and then also what score won
Okay.
over this.
Well, let's find out. Let's find out.
Because that's man, don't remember 2010 that well. What all was nominated, but the sound mixing and everything else makes sense for sure. That one in this,
Well, it's technically 2011 because it's always the year
right?
after.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The King's Speech won Best Picture.
No, definitely not. That's a bad one.
Yeah, I remember that won a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I know. I remember it did. I don't know why.
So I won Best Picture.
That's crazy. What about score?
That's all I got.
Okay. I don't know what else would have been around that time.
The Social Network. So Trent Reznor. And
Ooh,
Ross,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's a good call.
The other things that were nominated was How to Train Your Dragon.
Yep.
And The King's Speech was also nominated for that. And then
Okay.
did 127 Hours.
Oh yeah. Well, they made the right call with the score at least.
Best Picture.
Social Network, yeah, it's hard to top that.
Yeah.
Forgot that was around this time.
Yeah. And also it won for Best Director. The King's Speech won for Best Director, Best Actor for Colin Firth, and Best Actress for Natalie Portman.
See,
Oh, no, that
like-
was for Black Swan. Sorry.
oh, okay. Film wise, though, Social Network and this is definitely above King's Speech, and probably some other films as well. But that's yeah.
All right, so our main cast here is Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Elliot Page or Ellen Page, Tom Hardy, Ken Watanabe,
Yep.
Dalip Rowe, Cillian Murphy, Tom Berenger, Marion
Cotillard.
Cotillard, Pete Postlethwaite,
Yes.
and then Michael Caine.
Yeah, that's everyone.
All right, so just our general thoughts on this film and your history with this film.
I think, like you, seen it several times, like a lot of other Nolan films. Hadn't seen this in a while, though. It's been a while.
Kinda,
yeah,
it's kind of the same for me. I don't know.
yeah. I don't remember the last time I
I
saw
feel
it.
like, I mean, I guess we watched it because basically, I think during COVID
Okay.
in 2020, I kind
Yeah, I
of was
might have
watching
watched
a
it
lot of them
then.
with Lucas. We never got to Dark Knight Rises in our course of watching
Yeah.
the films. Because we went through the Nolan films initially, like The Prestige, Inception, Interstellar, like some of those, and didn't do the Batman movies initially,
Right.
and then watched, I think later, somebody been like 2021, we watched the Batman. Well, I think it was because Lucas and I were watching some of these other ones, just he and I, and then it kind of as a family, we watched with Addie and Kirsten. We were
Okay.
though Kirsten was kind of like, you watch the Batman movies, and so we watched the Batman, and then we watched the Dark Knight, and like, you know, as everybody, you know, we were kind of blown away, by the performance of Heath Ledger and the Joker. But then we never got to watch. So Batman Begins. I mean, I'm sorry, Batman. The Dark Knight Rises. Sorry. I know it's next week, but I was just thinking of like, I don't know that I've rewatched that film.
Wow. Okay.
I like maybe like right after it was on, you know, VOD or whatever, and I bought it. You know, I know I saw it in the theater, but like, but then like I maybe watched it one other time after that, and it's not one that I rewatch as often.
I rewatched all 3 Batman films recently, but this, it's been a while. I think this time, incredible pacing on this film, I noticed, because it's just like, it's engaging the whole time, even though there's like so much that you have to understand, but it just keeps going. It's just like really maybe more of a modern pacing that I don't remember how many movies in 2010 were like this, but because I'll get to, especially like the score is like another one that like paved the way for so many modern scores as well. It's just like so much about it that just feels like carried over and influenced to this day, like other Nolan films that we've already talked about. But yeah, that was the main thing that stood out to me. And I still like, even though there's a few things that still like I understood a lot more this time, but there's a little bit I'm like, okay, I don't know if I fully understand this, but I still just enjoy it just as much. And it's still just the concept is like an awesome achievement that I think Nolan, another idea he had for a long time that just like executed very well.
Yeah. So this film, I remember this movie in particular really just blowing my mind the first time I saw it. And so I ended up seeing it probably 4 times in the theater.
Oh, dang. Okay.
But it also was coincided with a good timing when we in Leitersburg, we had like was a sister company owning a movie theater where I worked. And so I could go for free.
Oh yeah.
So I remember mostly
you
going
and your
with,
whole family, you could go, right? Pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can't remember I don't know if Aaron went and saw it with me or not. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I remember like there was repeat viewings. It was just like coworkers, it was like, I mean, Nick, like just some of us going to see it again and again, but also because we didn't have to pay. So it was kind of like a combo of really liking the film and then having that threshold of like not even costing anything to go.
Yeah.
That I went and saw it several times. And, and it's definitely one of my, I'll be interested to see. It's always so hard to say, but it's definitely my top 5 of Nolan films.
Okay.
Prestige being there too, and probably The Dark Knight, Interstellar. After that, I'm not sure. Like, what would be what would be that 5th one? I'm not sure. And we'll wait. Maybe we'll wait until the end of all this, and we'll decide what
it might. Yeah, it might
our
change.
top 5 of each of the director, and we can each kind of give it.
Odyssey might be in the top 5. We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's, I think to your point, just the script and it's just him still playing in that same sandbox of like layers of storytelling, right? Like you kind of get it in the Prestige, you get it in Memento, like you're getting, the same. I mean, those he was playing with telling stories out of order too.
Yes,
but like there's still like just the layers of things in there, and then this is more of like the only thing it's not in linear is like the very opening scene, right? And then that's all it. The rest of it is linearly told.
Yes,
but there's just the layers of things that are going on.
Yeah, it's more about knowing like, all right, is this scene in a dream or in reality? Like that's kind of the main thing you're trying to figure out, because the story's being told linearly. But yeah, that's the main thing you're kind of figuring out as it goes.
Okay, well, let's get into the spoiler discussion.
Also, just like the spectacle beyond like just the idea for this is like so cool. But it's just like I was saying, the set pieces and just like what all happens is just like visually, it's just like which amazing as well. Again,
I think we're to the point of with the wind to cinematography.
Yes,
I think this is
and VFX.
Yeah. And
they get one for that, right? Yeah, those other visual effects, right?
They were at least nominated. Yep, one.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, and just to your point, like I think this is the first non-superhero film that had this level of spectacle. Right? Because like the Prestige just is kind of a smaller scale,
very small,
in the spectacle, and then and definitely the other films previously.
Yeah,
so it's kind of. Yeah, but
and that carries over to the Batman movies are different, but then Interstellar is like carries over the big.
I imagine, and this is just me speculating, but I'd imagine some of it has to do with confidence and and him as a storyteller and director slowly building, right? Like the studio is going to give you $100+ million to make a superhero movie, but the $100+ million to make some random sci-fi film that has no IP attached to it, that's a harder sell. And so I think, those earlier films being kind of not really sci-fi, but like say kind of genre things, they, with a little bit smaller budget is probably what was comfortable from a studio. And, but then once, keeps proving himself.
Yes.
And then, with those kind of, you see that, I mean, we've seen that with multiple of our directors. We've, kind of see that confidence build with, and it's probably some self-confidence and then also studio confidence. And, and then of course, just your household name, like when, cause like, I don't know exactly when, I really don't remember, but at some point, you learn a director's name and it becomes a household name to you, right? You're like, oh, I know who that is. I can count. Cause like, it's funny. In this, one of our other favorite directors, Villeneuve, you say his name, a lot of people still don't know who he is.
I know, which is crazy at this point.
Yeah. And
but you're right. Nolan's like one of the few modern directors.
A lot of people know who Nolan is.
Yep. Yeah, there's not many as far as modern, like newer directors. Because like, as of the time recording this, like Spielberg's about to come out with the movie, but like that's not a modern director. Like everyone's known his name for a long time.
Different generation.
So like, and we still have, Scorsese and other people that have been doing it so long. So like that, but like modern ones that in the past.
Yeah, they're basically like my generation.
25 years, right? Like his first film was around 2000 or 99, that we covered Nolan. So like, I would classify that as more of a modern director.
Basically, again, like my generation versus our parents' generation.
Yep.
And their parents' generation, you got Ridley Scott, you got Spielberg, you got. So
it's another one. Ridley Scott still does a lot as well. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bunch of if we really thought about it that people would name, but then our generation. I mean, some of them we've covered. Like I feel like Paul Thomas Anderson, PTA, like people.
Yeah.
People know that. Wes Anderson, people know him.
Yeah, but I guess Wes Anderson more, but PTA is not quite as modern because it's like he is in the exact same range I would classify as Tarantino. Because it was like, because they did around the same time, it was like early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
And
just,
like,
again, like
I don't know.
It's the same generation.
Yeah, I just don't classify that, I guess, as much as modern.
Because Tarantino would be the same. He would be some people know who he is, and even though he hasn't done that many films,
right? Yeah, because that was early 90s, I think, the start of
but like that's still the same generation, roughly the same generation. Versus, and then I guess people know Abrams, kind of roughly.
Yeah, but
like
his
kind of
films are
tapered
not
off.
as been as
no, but
impactful.
I feel like his name tapered off, and like he's less talked about more recently.
Oh yeah,
no, he's got that. Well, he's just producing. Like he doesn't direct as much anymore.
He just has his name attached to stuff. Yeah. I think modern directors. I think Nolan is one of the highest that people know. To your point, the household name and like talk about. Hopefully, Villeneuve will get there because I still think he's.
I think he's
number
James
one.
Bond might do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like as much as we love to do movies, again, we keep talking about this, but like,
maybe after this one, because this is the final one.
Yeah,
maybe.
it's just like we talking about. It's not going to do the box office that like just one random Avengers movie that's coming out at the same time. But I think, and he does the more obscure. I mean, like Blade Runner. I mean, it's a classic sci-fi, but not everybody knows Blade Runner.
Well, the original was a cult. Like it wasn't ever a huge hit.
Yeah.
And like gained popularity over time. So his Blade Runner movie didn't do well in the cinema at all, which sucks because like I went multiple times and it's just people didn't.
Yeah, I think I saw that twice in the theater.
I feel like I'm trying to remember who I went with. We might have went together one of the times, but I think I saw it. I saw it at least 3 times.
Yeah, because we saw it with Dad. Yeah,
okay, that was the time with Dad.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're talking about. We kind of got on a side tangent.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Inception, though. All right. So let's get into this film. So the opening dream heist.
Yeah, and the opening is already a dream within a dream,
Mm-hmm.
which is interesting to see that right off the bat, but not really explained yet. I wanted to talk about the opening scene because it's just what I was talking about, like the pacing in this, like it's immediately captivating, the opening scene, and interesting. And then I was thinking about this. Nolan's another one of the directors that he's very good at starting a film and immediately getting you hooked.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of it. When we just talked about The Dark Knight, like the heist opening. Trying to think. I mean, yeah, pretty much all of them, honestly. It's like Memento even, which is like a smaller film, but like immediately, because it's like, it does the reverse thing and you're like, oh, in the beginning, and it's technically the end of the film, spoilers, but you should have watched it by now if you're listening to this, going through the Nolan films. But anyway, yeah, so like the opening scene is just, I don't know. Did you feel that too?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like right away?
Yeah.
Even this time watching it?
Yep.
Yeah.
What's funny is you kind of forget. I mean, I think that's one of the things you forget. Just like with The Prestige, and you kind of forget about the shot of all the top hats.
Yeah.
Or like things like that. They just kind of like there in the opening, and then but then there's like callbacks to it later, but there's so much that happens in the film.
Oh yeah.
There's a density to the storytelling that Nolan always has that. By the time you get to the end, you forget that even what happened in the beginning.
Yes.
And so then, when you repeat watches, you're like, oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah, this one is the opening scene. Yeah, we don't really revisit it to the very end, and then you're like you said, to that point, then it's like, oh wow, like you're kind of just like, so much has happened, and you forget about it. You're like, oh, that is actually not like part of the linear.
Not just
part of the story.
Not just so much, but you as a viewer has changed so much because of
you've gone on a journey.
Your understanding of what
of everything.
Yeah, and so then your perspective is very different by the time you get to the end, and you're like, oh, and then
very similar to The Prestige, like you said, yeah. And then by the end, your understanding and going through it all is just this is just like the opposite of that as far as like scale and spectacle. Like the introverted, more kind of small scale of The Prestige, but just as impactful story wise, especially. But then like this is just like, yeah, you're going on a massive adventure. I have a feeling, well, Interstellar is the same way, and some of his other films too, but I have a feeling that's how the Odyssey is going to feel, because it's going to feel massive, and I don't know if there's going to be things out of order, but it's just by the end of that film, you're going to feel very differently, because you literally have gone on a journey like that. I mean, that's the point of that film, and just the massiveness of like what all happens is just, it's very exciting. It's going to be a lot of spectacle in that too.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then because there's also the two layers to this, right? In the opening, there's like the kind of the present day, and then there's like the cut to when he's there with the old man.
Yes.
Of Saito or
Saito.
Saito.
Mm-hmm.
And but he starts out, he's not, right? Like it's like, because there's like a fade or something. There's like a cut or a fade there.
I don't know. What are you talking about?
I'm trying to remember. Like, I feel like there was a moment I was like, oh, this is changing. Maybe I'm misremembering. But just like, because it's not the whole part of the opening is not the same as the end.
Yeah. We revisit that, and also it's just crazy because at the beginning of the film you just see this really old man, and you really have no idea, and then like realizing then it's Saito, especially at the end, it's just like crazy. Like I mean, it's again, it's just a lot of like what Nolan's great at, and what he repeats a lot in his movies is just like recontextualizing things you see early on, and then you're just like, it's part of like the what you're talking about, like having your mind blown by a film of his, and that like plays into it. We're just like, holy crap, like this is something that was like the very first scene. I think you just mentioned the top hats.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and then like understanding it all by the end is just like, yeah, it's awesome.
The other thing it does, the opening, which does establish kind of the rules to this world without really much exposition there yet. Like
Not yet. Yep.
Kind of get it later in a different way to kind of reinforce but it's like you kind of are learning it already there, and it does a good job of that.
And also, you do see Mal or Maul in the opening scene, but I don't think you know it's his wife yet, right? Yeah. Okay. I don't think she mentions that yet.
Because Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character,
JGL. That's what I like calling him.
He mentions like, what is she doing here? And then like,
yes,
DiCaprio's character is like, his name's Cobb. He's like, I'll deal with her or whatever. Yep. And you don't know.
That's all you know. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So after that, then we kind of get the I guess his motivations of a little bit of like wanting to get home, and he gets the job offer because you find out it was a test, and because they're like, basically you also find out that they're 2 layers deep, right? That you learn there, which is again learning what even that is, right? Like you know, and the kick stuff, like, right, like they push him to the top.
Very
so
important.
like all the things that you kind of like building the foundation in a not as complex way as that later they're going to do, because then they're going 4 layers deep instead of 2 layers deep. And but enough.
Which has also never been done before, because they make a point of talking about that, or people saying, no, that's impossible, and then like, yeah, that's a whole big part of the whole heist that they have to do. But
anyway, they ultimately find out it was a test, and then this guy presents the job of planting the idea. So which is even like, I guess what I'm saying is like a less creative storyteller would have been like, so then we can do a whole movie about them stealing an idea from somebody. They're stealing information from somebody, right? Which is like a cool idea in itself. But let's go one level deeper.
Oh yeah.
Right. And what if we had to plan an idea there, and the complexity of that?
It's a very relevant theme to this film. Let's go deeper, one level deeper,
And I think that's where the brilliance of like the script is, like,
yes.
right? Like that
very
like,
much so.
That even making it more complex, and which makes it more, there's more conflict, right? Like more interesting tension. Is a better word than conflict. Tension,
and so much more that could potentially happen as a result of that too. Yep. Things could go wrong in a myriad of ways, and they do at times.
And then we create the stakes where he hasn't been able to be home for a long time. So they kind of imply, they don't really ever say, I think, how long, but just like he can't go home because they think he killed his wife. And of course, we kind of get more of that detail later, but so I think, all the setup there is to give us like good character motivations. And
I think for the most part, because the big thing we're talking about is like, because there has to be so much exposition just for the audience to understand what's going on in this film. They do it really well, like you were talking about in the beginning, because it's not like too exposition heavy. But then when we get into Ariadne, and then like in the architect, and like going into that and explaining that, like that's why she's there, and that's why I say like she's Miss Exposition is what I call it, because like everything she responds with is just like reinforcing.
She's asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, and so like I think that's the only point, and I still don't even think that's like negative on this film at all, but it's just like that is where I think it's the most exposition heavy, where it's just they're throwing so much at you because they have to, because of how complex the story is. But it's just like, yeah, with her going along with Cobb, and she's like, oh, so because of that, this will happen. It's like always her responding in that way. And some of the other characters like JGL, what is his name in this? I think it starts with an A.
Arthur,
there you go. He also, he'll respond every now and then too. So it's not always her, but that's where I think it's the most heavy though. Yeah. And like,
no, so
you got to understand a lot there.
Teaches her, there's a part where it's Arthur showing her stuff too. Like,
yes.
Because that's where you get the MC Escher staircase, inspired staircase.
Yeah, so cool.
Which, yeah.
He's also the one, who is he saying it to though? That, my quote, might be to Saito, but Arthur's the one that's saying it, asking about like, all right, if you think about elephants, so he's even explaining that too. Which another quote I was going to have, but I don't need to do it, but about the idea of being a virus, which also Cobb says at the beginning, Arthur says it too. And that's why he's explaining, planning an idea. And obviously that's a big whole thing about this story. So,
so he's got to pull the team together, because then one of the things that happens is where he loses the architect from the team in the beginning, and then
that's the first one he goes after. So that's why we get Ariadne first, because he's an architect, and then he recruits everyone else.
Yeah. Well, and then you get Tom Hardy in there too.
Yep. He has a different name. It's Arthur, and it's another A, but it's a different name. Ames,
yeah. But Ames. It's Ames with an E.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. This is also cool because this is the first time. He's been in stuff before us, but this is the first time where Tom Hardy kind of blows up as an actor. And then it literally right after this, him as Bane is like the only thing that like makes him real famous. And then from there, he just, everything that he's in, people just really recognize him and just love him. But I think this is the first film, in my opinion, that like people are just like, oh, who's this guy? This guy is awesome. It's also the funny because this is like the only film he has like a normal voice. Like his voice is always different, obviously with Bane, but then like in other stuff, even when he shows up in Peaky Blinders, it's got a very different voice. Even the thing he's on now, was he in Mobland that I saw him in? He also is just like doing something different with his voice. It never is just his normal like British accent.
Of course, when he's doing Venom.
Right, yeah. It's always like his voice is so different. Anyway, so this film was just funny because like he sounds the most normal in this film.
Well, he's in Dunkirk, right?
Yes, he might sound normal in that. Yeah. I don't remember because he's not in it much, but yeah. Him and Killian both are in it. Yeah, small roles in that.
Yeah. So then we get the major, because he brings on like we get it's where it's memorable because it was so used in the trailer, the bending of the world. Oh yeah, with the like turning them into itself, and like
that's all done still with Ariadne, right?
When she's like they're sitting there in the cafe.
Yes,
it's kind of like it looks like I don't know if it really is, but it's like that famous cafe that you always see in Paris that they use. It might be the same one.
Yeah, I have notes about all this in cinematography, but yeah, it's so cool. Just like seeing everything there.
Yeah, it was like the first. They like later do the same thing for it's the magician guy in the Marvel movies.
Doctor Strange,
like his first film, whichever year that was, which
it's very heavily
like is inspired by this for sure. Like how the things kind of twist and burn.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was. I mean, when I saw that in the trailer, you were like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's so cool looking.
It
Even
is.
though it's like such a minor part in this.
Mm-hmm. But then, yeah, later you said the MC Escher thing, and then the multiple mirrors is like one of the coolest parts too. I think seeing that visual too, which is still in that same area with Ariadne and Cobb. Yeah, that's just like where they're throwing so much at you there, but it's all just like makes it even better because it's just so all the visuals are so just amazing in that whole section.
So I think the other, key interesting part, the kind of couple things that happen where they go to the guy, the drug guy, to get like the sedatives. They allow them to go 4 layers deep, right?
Very like powerful sedative. Yeah.
And so when they test it out, so this is where we start to get the mall stuff.
Yes.
Like how it's kind of haunting him, right? Like you kind of get a hint of that. But then also when he wakes up from this and he's like distraught because of the stuff he saw with his wife, his deceased wife. He's in the bathroom and he starts to use the top. And yeah, he doesn't finish.
Yes.
He has to because it gets picked up. So he never really gets to spin it and see if it's going to stay.
So this is the first time we see the top?
No,
No?
you see the top at the very opening.
That's right. We see it in the very beginning because that's right. And then it's not explained until later.
No, well, at this point it's explained because he talks about.
They ask it, or someone asks him. It might be Ariadne, like why is he doing? And then it's just, it's part of he's like worried that he's not.
It's the way they test if he's in a dream or not.
Yeah, because you see how, like you said, how distraught he is, and then he has to like do that to kind of ground him, and then that it goes into explaining another big thing, the totem. You need something, so you actually are awake and in the real world and all that. So everyone needs a totem, and that's his, and obviously that plays in massively, which we'll talk about with the ending too,
Right,
which is like one of the biggest things. Yeah.
So the question is with that scene, without not showing it,
Right. The first time we don't know.
did he actually wake up?
Right.
And that leaves it open-ended to like the rest of it could have just been a dream.
Yeah, I don't know about that because it seems like at least with the stuff with Michael Caine, which he's not in it much, I think all that has to be real. But then, which we'll talk about when we get to the end. But Michael Caine is in the last scene, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was just one of those things that I was like, okay, so they intentionally show them going to use the top to confirm he's awake,
Right.
and then he doesn't get to actually watch it do it, and then we don't see it again till the end, and then the end we don't see it what it does.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's another way that possibly this film could go. This is a good film that is debated still to this day with a lot of these aspects.
All right, so then we kind of get to the meat of this, the final act, which is
which when we
the actual
started
job.
this time, I was like, dang, I didn't realize how early in the film it is, and then it's like so obviously it's so long. So like, is it just a really long third act? Because like it's
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
I would say.
I was just surprised I didn't remember it being like starting that early in the film.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously everything breaks down to smaller things,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I would say like if you had to break this into a 3-act, like you have like the opening stuff, and then you have like the middle is the second act is like the middle stuff of like him building the team,
Yeah.
the exposition stuff, like all those things, and then basically when they start the flight, and, from was it Tokyo to LA, something like that.
I don't remember where
but,
the flight is. Yeah.
something like that, some 12-hour flight or something that our main dude Cillian Murphy plays, that is the target.
Yes.
You know, that's when they meet him and, you know, sedate him and then start going in. But like that, like you said, it's probably about, you know, an hour. There's still probably an hour left of the movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah, at
it's
least.
like,
yeah, it's crazy.
it's almost like the middle of the movie is when that starts. And, but that's because it's such a big third act with like all 4 layers and the depth there and of storytelling and the literal depth of like layers of the dream. So, but yeah, so the first one, the immediate thing that also was set up in the beginning was, you know, the like, hey, you can train your mind to protect against this, right? And then so then we see that where there's actually people fighting them back and like attacking them because they're in there and they're not supposed to be.
Yeah, well, that happens the very end with Ariadne in the beginning, and because it's just like very end, she's like, "What's going on?" There's people like, and Cobb's like trying to fight them off. So like we said a little bit there, we don't know as much about it then, but yeah, with this scene you talking about with Cobb and Cillian Murphy, and he's like,
yeah, we just in general the first layer of the dream.
Yep.
So then they have to get in the van. So, but then also the setup of like, which we haven't talked about, the explanation of like each layer gets time passes slower and slower. So,
another thing that carries over into Interstellar in a very important way also, it's just different, but the time, which is obviously a big thing Nolan likes to play with in general, but like but in different ways and in these different films, which is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got this time, which is, again, one of those things which is, again, why I was, like, surprised that editing did not get nominated, because, like, the amount of, like, stuff for this to get those timing of, like, especially as they get these 4 layers of dreams, and each one they're kind of cutting between to see the different things that are happening.
And it's amazing when and what, like, which is so amazing to, like, whoever edited this film is cutting to these different things happening. Because, yeah, you're right. You're going through so many different things and so many different high-stakes spectacle things that are happening, which we'll talk about because there's so many different ones that is just awesome with this ending. That's just like, yeah, you're cutting to back and forth so much, and it's but you always feel like you understand.
It doesn't feel disorienting.
Nope, not at all.
So, but yeah, so we got that layer of one, which is whatever, some city, and you got, and the train comes through too that blocks them, which you don't really understand the significance of that when you watch that part initially, but then later,
that's the first thing that surprises them too.
Well, that and the people shooting back, it's all surprises them. On first glance, you just assume it's all connected to the defenses of
the train. Yeah, you're right.
But the train is actually Cobb's issues, you know, his trauma coming into it, and you just don't know it at the time. And then they are able to convince them to go one layer deeper, which then that next layer is just another like random office looking building that they end up in, which is where then which later, like the where it's like rotating. But so that first one, then he end up in the van, and they got the one guy driving the van while the rest of them are all sleeping in the van, and he's being chased.
Yes,
constantly, because we cut back to him periodically, and it's raining. Because then and then we have they also do the interrogating stuff, which is interesting, where because they're trying to get the secret, right? Figure out the code to the thing. And that layer of stuff to eventually plant the idea in his head that to break up the company is what his father ultimately wanted for him, to be happy and not be the same as his father. And it's like that reverse psychology of it all. Like it's kind of also crazy.
Yeah.
Right? But but then they planting the number in his head
Yes.
in the beginning, that then layer is the combo to the
Not till the very end, essentially. Yeah, when he's it's pretty close.
It's like
to
the
end.
fourth layer deep. It's like it's the code to the thing, but it's like they planted that even in his head to be that's what the code is.
Very last time he sees his father, all those layers deep, and it's for the safe, the combination.
Yeah. So then our second dream sequence layer is just the office building, whatever, or hotel. I don't know. It's hard to tell what it is, but they.
Well, is that the layer with the hotel hallway?
Yeah.
Because I mean that's one of the
iconic
coolest things.
Yeah. With the
Yeah. Okay. So that is in that layer then. Okay.
Yeah, because you get the car chase layer, which is like a city, and then you have the next layer is the hotel.
Yes. Okay.
Right, and then the third layer is then the snow.
Snow. I was gonna say that would be next. Yeah.
So then the snow layer, which is like so random but also cool, and this like I had to be like, okay, another. Hey, I want to make a James Bond movie sequence.
Yeah, I have a note about that. Yeah. And then Cillian Murphy even says he's like, he couldn't dream a beach in that scene, which is great. He's like, why snow? But there's many times, honestly, in this film that make it feel like a Bond film. But the scenes in the snow, especially when we see the snowmobiles and skis, I was like, this is the most Bond feeling of this film by far. And it's this. And then Tenet are the two films that really is like, that's the Bond films that he, closest he got to Bond films. Yeah.
Yeah, so we go. And this is like just an impenetrable fortress, so they have to, which is also what this makes this. I mean, everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, but lots of people enjoy a heist film, and it's and it's like very generic sense. This is just like one heist after another heist. Like it's like, Baby Driver or whatever, like that.
Right.
That's like about a bunch of heist stuff, and that's fun. And heists are fun because it's like, how are we gonna get in? How are we gonna do this? How are we gonna do that? And it's like, but then you're able to do that in this like really bizarre sci-fi way that like has this like you're in people's dreams, and which is also like I find it interesting is like there's this like MacGuffin of a device that allows them to do that. I'm gonna say MacGuffin, maybe that's the right word, but like just this like random device that like they all put little like hook themselves up, and it's like magically you can now all be in each other's dream.
Yeah.
Enjoy and it's like no one questions that, and I mean even as the filmmaker, he just like, hey, this is a thing, you're not going to question it. This is doable, and they never
that's
try
the only
to.
thing I don't think.
They never try to explain the science of how that actually works.
Yeah, I think that's one of the few things that.
And it's like because you're just like, let's not worry about it. Let's just do it. And I mean that works from a film. I mean, I think it's fine from a filmmaking standpoint to just say, hey, in this world, this is a thing that works.
Yeah, and it has to
not to explain it in a scientific way, but
it has to for like the film to like play out because they all have to be in the same
but I think
especially for the
think because everything else around it, all the structure and rules around it is thought out so well and explained so well and scientifically logically makes sense in this world, right? That you don't question it as a viewer that wait a minute, well, how's a device let everybody be in the same dream together, right? So but it's just things I think about, like as a storyteller myself, like what you can get away with, and just say, this is a thing.
This is just
go
part
with
of this
it,
world,
and just But I think the reason it works is because everything else is so logical and explained. And
I agree.
So, one of the things that also dealing with is our main guy that can allow Cobb to get the person that hired them. What's the name? Tato.
Person that hired
Saito. Yeah.
Potato.
I can't remember.
It's like potato.
Well, all the names are kind of weird.
I know. Well, they all have. I was looking up. Actually, let me see. Because the Ariadne one, especially, I was like that. There's significance to that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They all have.
Yeah.
There's like some Greek mythology stuff or something, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, her especially, but yeah, are all of them
I don't know if all of them, but I think hers.
mythology? But yeah.
But anyway, we're dealing with his Saito's getting shot in the first dream sequence.
Yeah.
But not dying, and they want to keep him alive because they need him all the way through, because otherwise he'll wake up.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he won't, because then that's when you learn that this heavier sedative is a sort of one is to go 4 layers deep has to be so heavy that like you won't wake up by just getting shot. You'll stay in limbo, so they can't let him go completely out. So
right.
But then he's like, each layer, because the time is different and it's not as time passes slower. It's like they have more time in each layer to that before he like dies.
Yeah, but the scary thing is the limbo. They say they're like, we don't know. They're like, it could be
you don't wake up.
Yeah, it could be years. It could be could be nothing. I don't know. They say they talk about like you have no idea. So like. That's the risk then,
which I guess is
when you're getting into those many layers.
The point at the end, right? Because they go that 4th layer, he has to go get him, and why he's old, because he's been down there for a while.
Yep, that's when you finally understand that. Yep, why he's so old. So that's how much time has passed. Yeah,
but I think it's interesting that 4th layer they didn't really have to go to other than to save him and to save. Cillian Murphy's character, right? Because he gets shot too.
Yes, I believe he does.
Or something happens because then they have to shock him back to life, right? Mm-hmm. Tom Hardy does, and then because then once they get that 4th layer, it's Cobb's wife's there and Mal, and she's like sabotaging it basically, just as she does at the opening.
I want to mention the Ariadne. Yeah, famous for helping Theseus escape the labyrinth with a ball of thread, which gave rise to the phrase Ariadne's thread. So, yeah, I mean, that goes into why she is the architect. But, yeah, aims and all the ones, a lot of them are, they all have meaning in that, which is just interesting now. I guess his interest in this now doing the Odyssey too. Nolan's interest in that kind of thing as well. Not only just time, but mythology as well.
So then we end up where we need a kick sequence to wake each person, wake the people up from each layer back into the following layer. And this is where like the editing.
Oh yeah.
In the crescendo of like basically all the action kind of. And of the whole plot kind of hits, and this is where it's like, I think I remember watching it the first time, like just again mind blown, like the amount of like layers to this, and but it all like you're watching it and it makes sense, and to pull that off, and from an editing standpoint, again, I know I've said this like 3 times already, but it's like I still can't believe it was at least nominated.
I know,
but just that the layers there of it and it working and understanding and. The 4th layer, the kick to where then, they come out and then it's like him and they finally get the code. Well, the code, and they get in there and it's like the secret gets planted that he reads the letter from his dad. That's like, hey, and then they explode the building, which makes them all fall off the cliff in the snow, which then wakes them up to the next level. But this one, because the van is going off the bridge at this point. Yeah. In slow-mo,
keeps cutting back to that too.
Cuts back to that because it's like because it's like seconds are only happening there, milliseconds versus like minutes, and so. But then you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt having to like send them up and down the elevator or whatever. Like he has to find a way to make them feel the kick in that world so that they actually wake up and go into.
So is that before or after the actual zero gravity fight? That's so. Awesome. In the
that's
hallway.
After, so I kind of skipped over that, but you're right. Like that's a cool scene with the zero gravity fight.
That is one of the most memorable.
Because that's when as soon as he first in the van first goes off, starts going off the bridge,
Right.
So then he's fending people off there because they got found.
Yep.
And so then he's fending people off there, and it's like zero gravity, and they're like kind of falling.
Yeah. I wanted to call it like the rotating zero gravity sequence, but then I'm like, oh no, I just remember watching the behind the scenes because it's so cool and seeing that's what is actually happening. It's a rotating thing they were doing, and that's why they're all, to get that effect. But it is just like, it's such a creative visual moment that, and like, is one of the things that I remember the most in a film where there are so many like creative visual moments that are so interesting and memorable. But like that one was still, I think, one of the biggest ones for me.
Yep.
It's just,
I'm with you though. Like I remember thinking it's cool, but then like I don't know if it's more because then I saw so much behind the scenes stuff afterwards of like how they did it.
Yep. I wanted to mention, because you're talking about around this time with the kick, but I think also why this moment is so impactful as well is because the score is going almost the whole movie, and then it just cuts out here, and it's just a brilliant moment for this to happen. The kick happens, they get flown back, and the avalanche happens, and all that, and it's just like it just makes it so much more impactful because of that. Because like the music is even building so much there at that point, but also like I don't think there is a moment where there is no score. Like there's so much going always, even if it's more subtle, but pretty much through the whole film all the way up to that point. So then it just makes it even more crazy. So
yeah,
awesome moment.
I agree. Yeah, again, just I remember being I mean, still watching it this time around, it's still like just impressive, but
yes,
but like just mind blown when I was watching it.
Yep.
Yes, and then the fall from the bridge is the final kick that wakes him all the way up to the back to reality. So then we get the end where they land. Cobb is in the U.S., makes it through customs and doesn't get flagged, and then shows up at the house, and
it's Michael Caine.
Michael Caine picks him up, which I guess because he's the grandfather, like in law, right? It seems like he was his wife's dad.
I don't know.
I think it kind of implied that way.
Sure.
Yeah, it kind of implied that way. And then they show up at the house, and it's the house we've seen multiple times in his dreams, and also flashes of the kids there. And then the kids are there playing in the backyard and stuff. And then he spins the top.
Yep.
And the movie ends before the top can be shown to fall. Though it does start to make the little wobble sound.
It does.
As if it's going to.
Yep.
But it doesn't. We don't see it fall.
Yeah. I mean, this is the biggest thing that was talked about and still is to this day. Whether you think of it either way, obviously I like that where it cuts. I think that's a brilliant way to end it, and keeping it ambiguous, even though, I mean, there is like
a hint, right?
With a hint, yeah.
Like I said, because obviously it was very intentional where they made that decision.
Yes.
And like I said, it's and I don't even know if it's the visual as much as the sound, but that sound of like the shift of it sounding like it's start to be off a little bit from the wobble, right? Versus like just spinning is enough to be like, oh, everybody knows if you ever played with one, or even early in the film when you watch it, that shift in sound, is when it's like going to start slowing down, and that little cue note obviously is there intentionally to kind of imply, I think, that it was going to fall, which means it is reality. But
which would be more of the happier ending. Yeah. But
I think that but then the thing that's confusing to me, if you assume it's reality, then it's weird to me that the kids look the same from his memory. Because if he's been away for a while and hasn't been able to come home, those little kids like that, they would have aged significantly. Because you change a lot at that age, and the kids look identical. I mean, it's like shot for shot, like what his memory is.
It's all the same, yeah.
And so, like, to me, that's kind of And again, I don't know if it was intentional to do that, to be like, hey, but here's a nod, one nod to it's reality, and then a different nod to
I
like,
think
hey, it's
that's
still a
probably
dream.
why, just so it's like, it's not, so still keeping it very ambiguous. Yeah. So yeah, a little bit to both ways, like you said, and then it's just
plenty of other filmmakers, maybe would question it more, but I feel like Nolan's so intentional with every little detail that I don't think that was overlooked. So I think
no, definitely not.
I think that was intentional. So it's just whether, again, I think just leaving things open to interpretation.
Yeah, which I think is the best way to end this film, because I never really sided either way with it. I don't know if you ever did, but like I just am like, with this film, I think it's more of, and I think this is probably what Nolan wanted with cutting where they did for the ending. It's like, it doesn't matter either way.
Right.
Also, I'm sure he liked having people like just constantly thinking about it and debating about it.
Yeah.
But
it's not, whether it's reality or not is not the point of the film, right?
Yep.
It's not. So, so it doesn't really matter.
I also want to give a shout out to the other, and just another really cool visual is when they get to it, it's like the final bit with Maul, and Ariadne's in there with Cobb, and she's like, "Oh, you designed this world," and it's just another really cool visual.
Just like so many skyscrapers.
Yeah.
But then things are falling apart.
Yep. It's an awesome moment too.
Yeah.
Really cool looking.
That's true. The, because they were down there for like 20, 40 years, something crazy, whatever he says.
But it is interesting, I guess, from someone else's perspective about it, because this is something Ariadne also is like kind of arguing with Cobb about, is she says something like, she's like, so you are essentially imprisoning your wife in this because you don't want to let go of her. And it's interesting because then there is this,
which is the memory of her that he has too. It's not really her.
No, it's not really her, but the way that Ariadne says it to him, she basically is acting like it's still really her, because she's saying you're imprisoning her in that way instead of letting go of her. But yeah, no, it isn't actually her. But it still has that impact, obviously, when we get those scenes with her. And even then, like, the scene that he recalls a lot, where he says it's like where they go for their anniversary, right? And then she actually jumps out the window. There's that whole part. Very, very effective scene too. Even just Cobb's like response to that is just great. It's just a lot of great moments that either are visually captivating, but it's not only just spectacle though. I mean, there's still like that moment, and there's other times too. It is definitely still emotional as well.
Yeah, no, there's a lot, I think.
Or the ending scene too, obviously.
I think this film, more so than his previous ones, I think it does have a lot stronger emotionalness to it
than the previous films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
And I don't know if it's a common, I don't know. So like, I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say off to right now, just thinking about it, like to pinpoint it on either the writing or the acting, but like DiCaprio definitely can portray that stuff a lot better. Yeah. And like, you believe he cared, you believe, like his performance in that versus like Christian Bale in both the Batman movies, like he shows no emotion pretty much. And that, I mean, I know it's partially intentional because that's the character, but so like to think he really, even like we were talking about last week, like I don't believe he cared at all about like that, but then with Harvey Dent and then Rachel
dying
and all that stuff, like it's like I felt nothing because I didn't believe any of them cared about any of them.
Yep.
Whereas this, you believe that he cared about his wife, he was in love with his wife, he cares about his kids, like all those things are there. There's that emotional layer that's makes decisions more complex, right? Like when everything's black and white because there's no emotion, then, again, it's black and white in decision making. But then when you bring in emotions and feelings, decisions are way more complex. And so that's where I think you saw that coming through in this in a way that I don't think really saw in previous films of his.
Yeah, and I mean, it could just be also Nolan maturing or wanting to implement that more, because then, and obviously not with Batman, but I mean
maturing as a writer, a director, but then also you're working with DiCaprio. I mean,
no, but my point is, this is carried over not into Batman, but then Interstellar, big time, like even more so, actually.
Absolutely.
So then, so it's something. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Just something. I mean, again, as any creative, you look at your previous work and you're like, where's it lacking? Where do I need to push myself creatively?
Do I need to bring more heart into this film? Yeah, sure.
And I think, really feel that here. So I would say because even Prestige, like, as much as there's those relationships there, they're not as
no. I mean, we talked about the line he says and all that, and like, obviously it's brutal when his wife hangs herself, but like, there are some moments and some lines, but it's not on the same level as
you still feel it.
And then, like I said, I think Interstellar even furthers that in a lot of ways. Like, that's way more than even this film. So
all right. And again, cinematography, good? Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the cinematography. So I just want to call out like the opening thing with all the I guess, type of lanterns there. Yeah. And that ceiling one, it reminded me of it's just like a ceiling of light, which is just made me think of like, there's the tech Batcave room, right? And it's in both movies, but like, it's the primary location in the second film, where the first film he had the house at the Batcave, the real Batcave, but also that was like a studio somewhere. Like, once they built that, like, it's one of those things that was funny because you then saw it in music videos and other things after that, because it's like, it's just a room that anybody can rent and use. That's just like a ceiling of lights. But anyway, all that is like, this reminded me of that sentiment. Like, it was just a ton of lights on top. But the coolest part was then that table was so reflective, the giant dining room table, whatever it is, conference table there. And so like all the shots in that space with like the reflections of everything in that table, including all those like lantern lights, was just like really cool.
Awesome visual. Yeah. I agree.
And then it was some of this was stuff that I was like, this always happens. We end up talking about it when we talk about it.
Yeah, I know.
But,
I mean,
but like I think the next thing that I had, it was the, Paris, like with the folding buildings.
Yeah, everything with that.
And then the glass shattering and stuff with
everything getting destroyed. We're just sitting in the cafe and everything comes up around them that gets destroyed. It's like all this fruit and everything like coming up, right? Everything about that. Yeah, the city folding in and stuff, like you said.
Again, there's
the physics and physical space they're in,
and how that stuff was used a lot in the trailer to really sell the film. But
you hadn't seen that before in a movie.
No, and then the funny thing was like, and then it's not. I mean, it's so cool, but the restraint of not overusing it, right?
Yep.
Like we talked about the Doctor Strange later, then like they use that stuff constantly. And now it serves the story of like how they work and stuff in that film. But like this, like they could have done that stuff a lot, like multiple times in these dream sequences. Yep. But of course, I think Nolan likes to keep things more grounded in reality than not, even though we're always working on things that aren't real. The visuals are grounded in reality. And so like a lot of the dream sequences are not that weird.
Yeah.
Right. And this is an instance of where like, hey, we can go weird, but this is because we're practicing and we're just kind of. But I guess, you know, if you're building a dream for someone to be a part of, you don't want to go too strange, because then they'll feel disoriented and they're just trying to control that person, right? That they're anyway.
Yeah, a lot of them we already talked about. Obviously, zero gravity, hotel hallway, fight, all that. That is still one of the things that stuck with me the most. Besides that, that stuff earlier. I mean, even the slow mo. I mean, the kick at the beginning, slow mo into the bathtub is awesome. The slow mo at the end, it's just like a lot of the water
Super
stuff.
slow mo.
The water in the van hitting the water, all that too. Yeah, there's a lot. I already mentioned the very final thing where Maul is, in the like area he created. All the skyscrapers. I mean, there's stuff in the snow section. That's what I mean. It's just like a visual, just like spectacle, pretty much through the whole film.
I think definitely as Nolan has gotten to be known more recently, I think, you know, this film was the early days of this, but I think you know, it was been talked about a lot more in the last like decade versus back then. You know, using much more practical than CGI. And you definitely see it, but then it holds up. It's like, I mean, the same thing with like some of the 80s stuff that, you know, we look at like the Alien movies, or even, you know, Empire Strikes Back versus like some of them. And it's like, then you look at the prequels and you're like, okay, some of the stuff looks bad because it was trying to do too much CGI and not practical, right? And this film holds up, like the visuals held up. And the same with even though there had to be some CGI, like the Dark Knight too, because obviously the Two-Face stuff is, you know, CGI.
Yeah, that still looked really good.
That still looked really good. And this is the same, like obviously some of that bending of the world and stuff, like, but it looked good. But
there's still plenty of visual effects in this, but everything still holds up extremely well. I mean, like the fight in zero gravity is because the way they did it. You know, it's like it all looks incredibly good to this day because it's just they're rotating a set thing, you know, and then they're just going through it. So like, there's not much you have to do then with VFX and post. So
and then we talked about the rotating hallway, which just so cool, and the spectacle of it and the technical achievement there. I think I mean, just like you kind of do, and I don't know, again, it's used in Star Wars, like, you know, you have each of the layers of the dream sequences using different, very distinct visual, like, so that you're like, oh, this is, whereas like the final layers, you know, kind of almost post-apocalyptic, right? Like, and then you've got the snow layer, and then you've got the hotel layer, and then you've got like whatever city layer, and the bridge and just like it's raining there, it's not in the other, you know, like
that one's just a lot of rain. That makes it distinct differently from the other ones too.
And I think we talked about this, but the Snow Fortress, again, the James Bond of it, the like kind of blockbuster movie of it, like it feels like an action sequence of a just like giant, you know, action movie, right? And versus like,
even the way it explodes is very action movie, James Bond-esque. And then just again about the cityscapes, the end, like post-apocalyptic, very like desolate and lonely. Yes,
it was good storytelling.
Yep, for sure.
And then Yeah, the cross cutting at the end.
Yeah, that's the most impressive
It's like,
editing part, I would say.
yep. Yeah, and then the end. Yeah, just like ending on something that's so intimate. Also, I think speaks to what we were talking about with the emotionalness of this one over some of the previous films, where it's like really it comes down to Cobb and his kids in this little room in the house, right? That we've seen over and over again, and then of course like the notes about the top and the kids still being the same age and stuff that kind of we already talked about. But
Yeah, that shot is also great because there's no cutting there. Like the shot is it's on him, like grabbing his kids out in the backyard and then in the room, and then it just slowly pans slowly moves to the top.
mm-hmm.
So like I think that's great too. Like instead of like a lot of cutting, which is like what is done earlier in the film, which is also really great for that. But like this, I guess you feel it more that way.
Yeah, it gets more of a
with that
calmness to
movement.
it, right?
Yes.
Because everything else was chaotic.
Yep.
Especially that we just at the end, the finale of the cutting between all those layers, and then
A lot, yeah. But still, like we said, you always know what you're at, so which is like
yeah,
so impressive and why
and then
it should have won.
The MC Escher inspired staircases, like those,
Always
so
awesome
cool.
visual.
Yeah, and they do it a couple times because he talks about it when he's training her, but then they do it again later, actually in the sequence, right?
I think so.
Like in the
I don't remember where though.
one of the is it the hotel sequence or the first? It was one of those the Dream Layer 1 or 2.
Yeah, it's one of the first ones. Yeah,
it's one of those that they do it for real to them.
yeah. I don't remember where exactly though. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else in there
No.
that we didn't cover? All right, let's talk about the score.
Go ahead.
So I think
I feel like you're gonna have more to say about this one.
no, I have some notes about. So I just want to say I think this film, this score. I know after watching it, this was like the first time in a long time I was like, I need to listen to that score.
Yeah.
And then I think this is when I actually even like learned who Hans Zimmer was.
Okay.
Like, I think before that I didn't know his name.
Yeah, I don't remember when I first knew his name or found out who he was.
So
This one you listened to a lot afterwards.
Yeah, I listened to it a lot. I try to remember because it was probably still before streaming music, so I must have bought
You
it.
probably just bought it.
I bought it in like iTunes
digitally or Mm-hmm.
because I definitely wasn't buying CDs anymore at this point. But I'm pretty sure I must have bought it, and then I definitely listened to it a bunch. Still like to break it out every once in a while.
Oh yeah, me too.
And then, and if it wasn't the first thing realizing who Hans Zimmer was, it was definitely the what cemented it. If it,
Oh yeah.
And then just really that want to note that the main in the very beginning, because you had the opening heist, right, and you don't really know, and it's like when that moment when it's like you realize that they're in a dream and like kind of and like the main theme like hits right then for the first time. So good. So good.
Is that the very first like very deep big brass sound that like everyone copied after this film? Because that's like another big thing that, well, there's a lot of things in this, but that's like the signature sound in this film that was used so much afterwards. Yeah, I think that is the first moment you hear that. Yeah, which I understand. I mean, it's an awesome sound. It's just then everyone else used it and everything.
Oh yeah, it got overused after, but at the moment it was fresh.
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah,
and yeah,
but just like everything, that's why this is another film, both in the score and in a lot of ways, visuals and everything is just Nolan has done this a lot in his films, and then
Yeah, and I think it's
pioneered
also
something that is,
interesting.
people do afterwards.
I think it's interesting too. You were talking about how like the score is like so prominently there in this film, and I feel like it's just Hans Zimmer finally 100% doing his thing with Nolan, right? Because like previously when they worked together in the previous couple of films, it was with the other guy.
Yeah.
And where that balance is, I don't know. But
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't mean. I mean, Batman has some good stuff in it, like the themes, but like
The main theme, especially.
yeah. But it's it's a little bit more subdued than this. And this is like, no, the score is going to be in your face.
Yeah, but not always though. That's what I mean. But it's always there. Like that's why I mentioned it's so impactful when it does cut out in that avalanche moment or the kick. But the score is always there in this film. Like, so it's just crazy how much he wrote for this film. But yeah, no, it is in your face a lot of times and is more like up front in the mix.
I was going to say, that's what I guess.
Not always.
I shouldn't
Sometimes
say
it is
in
more
your
in
face, but it is as much as it's, I should say.
Yeah, in the
I think
mix,
really
yeah.
what I was saying is a little more prominent in the mix
Yes.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like even when it's more subtle from a musical standpoint, it's still like more prominent in the mix than
Yeah,
like,
with the dialogue and everything else, how it's mixed. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which, I don't know.
Which I prefer.
Yeah, I think I
Always.
prefer too, but I think it comes back to that. I mean, that's kind of John Williams stuff's always that way.
Oh, yeah.
And I think,
A lot of stuff back then was.
yeah.
And it's
Well, probably,
not
I mean,
as
the
much
older
now.
stuff is like, yeah, like the older the things were, the,
could have been
there's
more of a limitation then as well. I don't know.
like, yeah, how they mix stuff and they didn't have, when you're doing analog versus like all digital now.
Yep.
But then also the, back then you had a little more control. I mean, it was just in theaters and then maybe on TV, right? And now it's like people watching in all kinds of crappy speakers, and so you have to, if you're trying to make it work in the lowest common denominator, then it's like, well, the music's too loud, and this watching it on my phone with the little speaker on my phone. And so we're going to have to bring it down so that they can hear the dialogue. Whereas that's the kind of thing like Nolan probably just doesn't care. He's like, screw you.
Yes.
I'm going to make this the way I want to make it, so it sounds the way I want it to sound in the theater. And then the rest of you can deal with it.
It's frustrating because I have to deal with this anytime I write something and then like go to mix it. It's just, that's the frustrating part, is getting it to sound right in every medium, because there's so many different ones, and it's never going to be perfect.
Because like when you're dealing with like making, commercial content, which is what I do all the time, like you are expecting somebody to watch it on a phone, on their laptop, on the TV, and so then, and you do listen to it with headphones, without headphones, and like you listen to all this, and it's like, some places it's like, oh, the music's not loud enough. And the other places you're like, whoa, the music's too loud. And it's like, it's the same file. You're just listening.
Yep.
And so it's frustrating, because then it's like finding it so that it can kind of be okay in all those formats, and yet still not, barely hear the music. Because I like to have the music there.
Oh, yeah.
I like it to be present, because it does drive the emotion and feeling so much.
Yep.
Anyway, so what else you got? You got anything else?
I wanted to mention, I already mentioned how influential this score is in general for modern films.
Yep.
Especially obviously that signature sound that we already mentioned. But in addition to that, just the blending of the orchestral elements, so the strings and brass, with the electronics, in that hybrid type of way, is just used in everything now. And it's but it sounds so good in this film, even in 2010, which this is one of the first moments I would say that type of score was done in this big of a film. Obviously it was done before this, but I would say in this such a big blockbuster, one of the first moments. I don't want to say it was, but then I also just want to mention the track at the end. You hear it subtly before that, but the track actually called Time is the best cue or song in the score. Just the incredibly effective chord progression of it. But I know which one. I know you know what I'm talking about. I think it's the final track on the score as well, but I believe it's just called Time, and that's like the most memorable and one of the best, I think, from this film. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I didn't notice before, but you hear it subtly at times earlier in the film, but then obviously that ending is where it's the most prominent.
So one of the things we didn't talk about, just the music cue of like when you're ready. That like
classical music.
Yeah, that like leads through the different dream sequences.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Is a cool concept that we didn't. I was just thinking about it now from sound and design, like we were talking.
Yeah.
And
and then just mentioning what it won for in sound, just overall is just like incredible in this. Yeah, very well deserved for this film. But then it's just like other things. I feel like it should have also won for what we were talking about, but at least it won for sound and VFX. And then what was the third one? There's 3, right?
Did it won for?
Yeah. Oh, it was sound editing
and sound. Yeah, there's 2 sound ones. I think.
Okay, so it won for both sound.
It won for cinematography, one for sound mixing.
Oh, one for cinematography also. Okay.
Cinematography, sound mixing, sound editing, and then visual effects.
Okay, there's the 4. Awesome.
All right, well, let's get into some of the trivia.
Mm-hmm.
So, in an effort to combat confusion, television broadcasters in Japan included text in the upper left corner of the screen to remind viewers in which level of the dream they were.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. I thought that was kind of, and it's like, don't take this wrong. It was like, what does that say about their like visual understanding level in Japan versus like other countries? It's just interesting that there they felt the need to do that.
Yeah.
Everywhere else we're like, nah, you can figure it out.
Yeah, I don't know, but I bet Nolan hated that. And that was just a studio decision that they had to do for that.
It was like the television broadcaster in Japan.
Yeah.
Entertainment Weekly interviewed Nolan, and he explained that he based roles of the Inception team similar to roles that are used in filmmaking. Mm-hmm. So Cobb is the director.
Oh, yeah.
Arthur is the producer. Ariande, is that how you say it? Yeah.
Ariande
is the production designer. Ames is the actor, and Saito is the studio, and Fincher is the audience.
Oh yeah, because Saito is funding it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and he did this in trying to write a team-based creative process. I wrote The One I Know.
That's cool.
In spite the movie's extensive surreal effects and sequences, the majority of visual effects throughout the movie, such as the Penrose stairs, rotating hallway, mountain avalanche, zero gravity sequences, were created through practical methods, not through the use of computer graphics. Mm-hmm. This movie only had around 500 visual effects shots, as opposed to most other visual effects epics, which can have upwards to 2,000 shots.
Yeah, and that's another reason why it still looks so good.
Mm-hmm. Joseph Gordon-Levitt performed all but one of his own stunts during the fight scenes in the spinning hallway.
Okay, shout out to him.
Yeah, way to go.
We'll see him.
He's in
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah.
Or not
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. I think that's the only other Nolan one he's in.
Yeah. Murphy's Bag. This is the third Nolan movie in 5 years in which Cillian Murphy's character spends a significant portion of his on-screen time with a cloth bag over his head.
Never thought about that, but that's true.
So once DiCaprio was cast, he spent months with Nolan working on the script. Nolan asked, he made some extraordinary contributions to the script and really challenged me to make the script clear, but also to follow its interior logic and really be true to the essence of the characters and the rules we set out. Nolan's wife and producing partner, Emma Thomas, said about the work DiCaprio did on his character with Chris made the movie less of a puzzle and more of a story of character audiences could relate to.
Nice. You know, I was thinking about that's another person that surprising never has worked with Nolan again. Leo.
Yeah.
You know?
It is interesting because
I mean, he normally likes to get like whoever's hot at that time. Obviously, Leo was real big then, you know, because now who he has, and except for Killian, I guess he kind of just always has him in most of the stuff. But then, like, you know, now with Odyssey, a lot of younger people, but still some of the biggest, like Zendaya and Tom Holland, and but also actually that's kind of like an ensemble though, because then you still have some people that maybe not as famous now, but used to be. Like Matt Damon's like the main character in it, and I would say he's not as big of an actor now as he used to be, like especially in the Bourne days. But it's a cool mix of like older and younger actors.
I don't know that I would say like I don't know that he tries to get he's popular. I think he just gets
No, I feel like at the time of different things, because like Matthew McConaughey was like had a real big resurgence around the time of Interstellar, because he also won for Dallas Buyers Club. I want to say it was right around the time, you know, so it was like a moment. And then Leo was big in 2010 because of this, and Shutter Island was the same year, I want to say. And what was right before this? I don't know, but you know, like this was a big moment for him. Anyway, obviously not the biggest, because when we covered Titanic, obviously that's when he was probably the most massive. But I don't know, probably doesn't ring true to every film of Nolan's, but seems like with certain actors he gets them at specific times.
Yeah, I think it may just be if they had some previously, means, you know, a couple years prior, it just means they might be a little bit more on someone's radar. And so like when you're casting people, I don't know if it's like that intentional, but because I think he also does a good job of sometimes pulling people in that aren't very popular and you know, use them. So
that's true.
All right, so Nolan has said that the snow-based third level dream was inspired by his favorite James Bond movie, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Nice.
Yeah, that is a good one. Yeah. A little Roger Moore.
Yeah. Wait, no. That
no,
one was,
that's no.
That one's the other guy.
Yeah, that's James Lazenby. Is that his name? James?
I don't remember his name,
Something
but
like that.
that's the one he was the only
one he did. He did that one film. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. James something Lazenby. Yeah. Nolan had pitched this movie to Warner Brothers after the completion of his third movie, Insomnia. It was met with approval from the studio. However, it was not yet written at the time, and Nolan determined that rather than writing it as an assignment, he would just be more suitable to his working style if he wrote it as a speculation script and then presented it to the studio whenever it was completed. So he went off to write it, thinking it would take a couple of months, but it ultimately took almost 8 years.
Wow. Okay.
But I think the time worked out, because I think, again, we were talking about earlier, if he had gotten it done a couple of months and went ahead and made this after Insomnia, I don't think they would have given him the budget that it needed, and even to have even the computer graphics where they needed to be to. So I think it
was the right time for it. I mean, this is the point. I mean, he had big budgets before this, but after The Dark Knight, that's when, you know, crossing a bill, then it's like literally could do anything after this with whatever budget he needed, I imagine, at this point.
The first city level for the Dream with Fitcher, the state motto on the license plates of the cars reads, "The alternate state."
Oh, that's cool.
Just like Nolan's previous movie, The Dark Knight, no second unit team was hired for making the movie. All the shots were filmed by Nolan and Wally Fitzer. So that's the third, because it wasn't just The Dark Knight. The Batman Begins was like that too.
Had to be a really long shoot then.
Yeah,
if you didn't have another. Yeah,
I wonder, because what was it? The Prestige is in between there, right?
Yep.
What if the Prestige was the same way? Probably.
That one I imagine was a little quicker to film, at least.
Yeah, I'm saying like they probably, because if they did it on these bigger ones, why would you do it on a smaller one like that? just that one has less of, I guess you don't have the big action sequences. A lot of times they have second units go film because they're just like, it's just a bunch of action and stunt doubles. We don't really need, there's not a lot of direction needed from a directing talent. And so then a lot of times that's where the second units shoot. During an interview, Nolan addressed the ambiguous ending, saying that he believes Cobb makes it home to his children, although it is open to interpretation by the viewer. He further claimed that the point of not seeing whether or not the top stops spinning is that Cobb no longer obsesses over his dreams.
Yes.
Not that it's reality or not.
Yep.
So not counting flashbacks, Cobb's wedding ring appears only in the scenes where he is dreaming. Many times in the movie, the scenes cut away as to keep Cobb's left hand from coming into view.
That's cool. I didn't even notice that.
Not something I ever picked up on.
Yeah.
But so if you see his wedding ring, it's definitely in a dream sequence because he's, thinking about his wife, I guess. And then otherwise, yeah.
That's cool also.
So the slow, gloomy, blaring trombones in the main theme of the score were based on an extremely slowed down version of the fast, high-pitched trumpets in the beginning of Edith Piaf's song. No, I'm not going to try to say that, but which was used as a plot device in this movie. So the
classical song?
Yeah, the classical song that they use. Yeah.
Okay.
Non je ne regrette rien. I don't know.
Sure.
It's Italian, I guess, or whatever. But yeah, so that song, the trumpets in that is it's trombones.
Got the idea off of that.
Slow down versions of that the trombones.
Awesome.
But then, so which was a plot device in the film. Furthermore, when music is heard by someone who is currently within a dream, the music is perceived as slowed down. Thus, the main theme of the score is almost exactly what the beginning of that song would sound like to a dreamer.
Yeah.
This thematic device is brought to its logical conclusion when the song plays at the end of the credits, signaling that the audience is about to wake up from this movie.
Wow.
Which I didn't watch it to the end of the credits, so I didn't.
That's cool. I didn't either.
So I might have to go back and do that.
That's sick.
Cobb and Mal spent 50 years in limbo. At one point, it is stated that 10 seconds in the first dream were owed as 3 minutes in the next dream and 60 minutes in the dream after. That equates to a time increasing roughly around 80 times each dream. Since Cobb was able to be in limbo within the fourth dream, if you break down the math, that equates to about 7.5 days for every 10 seconds. Breaking it down further, 50 years would be around 10.5 to 11 hours being asleep. This can be confirmed by the fact that Saito aged into an old man while in limbo during the duration of the flight to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the kind of like thought through world building that like no one always does. It's like crazy.
Not everyone does that.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of people just wave their hand over that kind of stuff, but this is like, no, we need to make
most
sure
people won't think about it anyway. Yeah.
We need to make sure this works at the deepest level.
Jeez.
Whether the final scene is reality or a dream has been one of the most discussed conundrums.
Yep.
The final answer may come from Michael Caine, who in an interview in August of 2018 said, when I got the script of Inception, I was a bit puzzled by it. And I said to Nolan, I don't understand where the dream is. I said, where is it the dream and where is the reality? And Nolan said, well, when you're in the scene, it's reality. So get that. If I'm in it, it's a reality. If I'm not in it, it's a dream. Judging by these words and having in mind the fact that Caine was in the final scene, the events took place are reality and Cobb was not dreaming.
Yeah. Yeah, I mentioned
but
with
then
Michael Caine,
there's plenty of scenes that are reality that Michael Caine's not in.
No, that's true.
But and then I found this the narrative jumps between dream layers and or story timelines are a total of 223 cuts. Wow. And then I pulled the reference because we talked about this with The Prestige. The Prestige was 146 time jump cuts. So this actually has more cuts between things than even The Prestige did,
right?
Which is crazy.
Jeez.
I'm kind of curious if we'll get a stat on Tenet, because I think Tenet might actually break those numbers, which is insane.
It's another thing. It's like, how long did this take to edit that too?
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right. So theme and messages.
Yeah.
What's the theme?
I didn't write anything down ahead of time because I was still thinking about it. Do you have anything you wrote down?
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go off the top because I was still thinking about it because I just finished this film.
So you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, because I'm still thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were
that's right.
thinking. I just wrote down this film argues that the stories we choose to believe can shape our reality, and sometimes healing means accepting uncertainty rather than demanding absolute truth.
Yeah. I would definitely expand on that, where it's definitely about a big part of this film is definitely not wanting, so specifically with anything traumatic that has happened to you, then you sometimes, even if it's something traumatic, like a part of you still wants to live in that or not escape it, which is obviously what Cobb is doing. But that's more just because it's the only way he can still see his wife. You know, he's going into that place and falling asleep and going into that place where his wife is. But yeah, then escaping it to fully heal from whatever traumatic thing has happened to you, then you have to get out of that area, or not, or stop yourself from like returning to it over and over again, to move on. So I would say pretty similar to what you were saying about it. But I mean, that is a big point. Besides that though, like even thinking outside of Cobb's story, like what else would be like a big theme of this film?
Was the same?
I guess the passage of time. I mean, in general, for sure.
Yeah, but I was like, I think it's the same, like even for Saito and then Cillian Murphy's character of like again, it's like what I mean, it's the whole point of like the thing that they're incepting, right? The idea. It's like the stories we tell ourselves, which is what they basically get him to tell, is within what we believe. And so it changes our reality, whether it's real or not.
For sure.
And I think that's the main story arc of the whole thing is like, hey, we can change reality by telling him a story.
Yeah.
And whether it was real or not, and it really wasn't. It wasn't true, right? That wasn't, I mean, well, implied, right? They never actually come out and say, but implied, like, that's not what his dad said. It's not what his dad told him.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but they made him think it and then believe it, and then it changed his reality.
Yes. Yeah. That's a great point.
All right. So any other thing? I mean, I feel like we've been going for a long time.
Yeah. No, I think we...
Final thoughts?
No.
I mean, just great movie. Hot take.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone listening, watching, let us know. Let us know what you think of the ending, if you are one way or the other, because I'd be curious how people feel about that.
Yeah.
If he's in a dream or not. But yeah, I mean, also, if you haven't watched this movie in a while, or if you've never watched it, I mean, you should have watched it first before listening to this, but definitely check it out. It's another great Nolan film. Yeah. Now, this one, though, I don't think I would call a masterpiece like Prestige, though.
Interesting.
But it's still very...
I don't know.
Original and like, it's just crazy what he came up with. The story, though, is just so impressive.
I still think this is up there in the
it's close, but I don't know if I would... Yeah, I don't know. Let's think about it more. Okay. But I still love it, though. It's just...
Yeah. No, I know.
Just the way it's executed in the Prestige, though, it's just like... Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But... I can't really think how many times I've seen this movie, but maybe after revisiting it more, maybe I would think it was a masterpiece eventually. I don't know, but
Well, what do you guys think? You guys think it's a masterpiece or not?
yeah.
Let us know.
And it's Cobb in a dream
Or any other
not
thoughts
at the
and
end.
feelings you have about this film. So you can do that by emailing us at feedback@screentimepod.com or just leaving a comment or DM. And obviously the comments, DMs are on the different social platforms. So if you don't already, please like and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And if you'd like to follow either of us on Instagram, I'm at jyoungbar.
And I'm at Jared Youngbar.
Okay. Well, we will do The Dark Knight Rises next week. Until then, we continue our journey to the Odyssey.